they picked that. They probably knew that it was not going to be a good idea, and it certainly was not by the end of that game. Let's see what they do this time. Maybe I'm certain they're going to change it up.
Well, we're probably going to see Snake first ban Zeratul again. First ban, highly favored over map pick in this league. As we see, a coin toss winner chooses whether they want a first ban or if they want to choose the map, and I cannot think of a single time where the coin toss winner decided to pick the map instead.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever happened, to be honest. Yeah, it is a bit of a thing.
All maps are balanced, so...
Yeah, they all pretty much come down to team fighting more than anything else. There's no like specific sort of strategy, except for maybe Haunted Mines. But no one wants to play that map anyway.
Sure. Well, we do see banning out Jake against Malfurion right away.
Wow, all right.
So this is the first kind of stylistic ban I feel we've seen today.
Yeah, looks like they're going to change things up. And Zeratul's going to be that ban from DK, so most likely, if he wants it, he can get that Leoric out.
I think it's a good choice because, you ban Malfurion, which does then open up Leoric to your team. I think that's why we see him banned instead of Leoric. However, if you get Leoric here, you do give away Uther, and Kinu is a great Uther player. So he's actually highly regarded as a good first pick now because Malfurion is banned, and there he goes. So I think that's the way to go.
I think it's going to force Rehgar for Team DK. Granted, Team DK don't have to even think about a healer until that 5th pick at this point because there's no way Snake's going to ban out a second one. And they certainly are going to be choosing a second healer.
I think that we might want to see Jaina here. I don't think we're going to see Leoric. Notice Uther has actually the highest win rate of all supports, currently at 19 and 11. Just a random stat that popped up on the screen, reminding everybody how strong he is in Korea.
He is a god. He has so much utility, so many different things he can do. There's that Jaina. Could be a tank to follow things up.
Jaina into Johanna, I think, would be good.
I like Leoric.
Leoric is definitely good because you also remove him from Snake. You actually stop Oreo from having him.
Yeah.
But keep in mind also the tanks for DK, not big Leoric fans, kind of Arthas, Anubarad.
Seems that way, yeah. It's more of an Arthas style, so that means they can choose it a lot later as well, because he's certainly not sought after.
Which means they could actually go ahead and grab a second DPS in Vala, perhaps.
Vala, Sylvanas, Zagar if they wanted for this kind of map as well. Always an option.
Abathur again.
No.
This is a worrisome pick.
Well, let's see what happens. I mean,
this is when Snake picks Illidan.
I guess they could for trolling purposes. I mean, why not get the mental edge as well?
I think we're actually going to see Sonya pick from Snake.
I'd love to see a Sonya pick, just because I love Sonya so much as a hero. I think she's such a great hero. Just hasn't really been coming into power. Look at that, 0% win rate for Abathur. No surprise there.
4 times picked, 4 times lost.
Make that 5 after this game, Wolf.
Yeah, that's true.
I got a feeling.
Well, I mean, that might even be 5 after last game, because I don't know if the stat was actually updated.
That's true, too. Well, simply just no luck with the Abathur yet, but maybe they're going to try and change it up this time. Maybe they will use an Arthas with him.
Well, Snake is burning a lot of their bonus time, just like they did in the previous draft, really considering what they want to do. Kinu, again, the shot caller here, the one who's making all the decisions, and a lot of discussion going into this one. I think that we either see, another DPS pick come out here or Sonya, or perhaps both, but of course the first pick here will reset the timer before they can, so they don't have to keep burning this bonus pool.
Certainly so.
So likely because they haven't picked either yet, it means they're still considering both options, not like they only chose one.
It's Johanna, I'd say. Similar to last game to start things off. And we do have that Uther as well. Man, what a great healer. And Vala, okay.
Vala again.
I like Vala. Vala's a very solid, well-rounded choice for DPS.
No insta-lock Illidan here. Oh, well, we're going to the bans. Okay, I was getting too ahead of myself.
They could just ban out Illidan as well.
It's totally possible.
You know, that could just be the thing. Or they could just allow them to have Illidan. It's like, you know what, just have him. Like, we dealt with it last game pretty easily in the late game.
Another possibility for Snake bans is to ban Rehgar. That makes the Illidan pick weaker as well, and it forces an awkward hero, because I don't feel like Kharazim is the healer you want.
Yeah.
If you're going for Illidan Abathur.
I guess Divine Palm would be pretty useful to keep him alive a little bit longer, but
if he's being Divine Palm, though, he's in stasis, everyone else dies, and he comes back alone and dies himself as well oftentimes. We'll see. There's the Sonya ban. I think this is a really good pick for DK. But let's see if they go ahead and ban Rehgar here. counter-wise.
They could if they wanted to. Abathur kind of makes it obvious what they want to go for. It's like Illidan or maybe another hero that's going to really benefit from it. Arthas wouldn't be too bad either.
They ban Illidan. And now what do you do, DK? Uh-oh. Problem time.
All right, well, they kind of went for it again, and this is kind of the obvious situation they would have thought about as it was a second pick Abathur from this point. So they weren't going to get Abathur Illidan unless they really made a mistake and like, oh, we're going to pick them both at the same time again. And they're like, wait a second, we actually couldn't do that.
Yeah, it's just kind of a weak draft so far.
Maybe they have a plan. All right,
there has to be a
let's
backup
not count
plan,
them
right?
down and out just yet.
Okay, Leoric.
All right.
It's going to reset their timer as well, so they can think about their 4th pick a little bit more. They still have no healer. Rhaegar most likely will be the last 5th pick.
Yeah.
So what could they bring to the table here? Zeratil's off the table. Kerrigan.
Do they want a
Abathur?
second tank?
Do they want a second tank?
With this kind of composition, is it even viable?
I don't think so. Muradin.
They got Arthas if they want it.
Tyrael is weak versus Kinu's Divine Shield, especially with Divine Shield in general on these targets. They only have one squishy on Valis so far that they could actually even be thinking about right now. This is just a weak draft overall for DK, and with this Leoric pick here, I start to really worry that they don't actually have a plan B, which is really worrisome.
Yeah, they came into this practiced for an Abathur sort of style, but it got high counted so far. There's that second tank, and Ubarak's going to be the choice, and no doubt Rhaegar is 5th.
So they are going to have Jaina, again, as their lone DPS, but this time they don't even have Illidan. And that's very worrisome going into this fight.
They're going to be relying on Leoric for that extra DPS as well as the Abathur.
I think a great pickup here for Snake is actually to go straight into Muradin.
You think so?
It's going to stop the auto attack damage of Leoric and Anubarak if they come up into his face with that Thunderclap, and then you could also double stun them if they get up close. Alternatively, we could see another DPS come down.
I would like to double tank against this as well, to be honest. I think Snake could certainly pick up a secondary.
They could even go into almost triple tank. Any hero with Blood for Blood is going to be quite sought after here as well, with, of course, Leoric and Anubarak up in the front lines. This is a really tough choice. There's a lot of different ways they could look at this. They could even run 3 tanks.
Why don't they just get like a... I would love to see a Butcher, but there we go. Tyrael and Sylvanas. Butcher would have been fun. It's not like they can blow him up really with 2 tank heroes like this and a Rhaegar for the last pick.
Now, a lot of people say that games are often won and lost in the draft phase. The way this is looking is at 1 game for Snake in draft 1, and in game 2, a much more well-rounded draft for Snake. The plan to go Illidan Abathur again in game 2 is shut down, and we'll see if DK can kind of transition, kind of flex their way through this, kind of wing their way through what seems to be just an odd draft.
Just a very interesting mindset going into this best of 5, sticking to the Abathur like that. I feel like maybe they just didn't think it worked out for a certain reason in game 1 and they want to try it again.
Well, guys, let's go into game number 2. See if they can turn it around. Welcome to set 2, DK versus Snake in Knight of the Garden Terror. DK is running on the blue side this time versus the red side being Snake. So a bit of a reversal of sides here.
Yeah. Well, let's see what DK can do with this composition. Once again with that Abathur, it's going to give them the, a constant lane presence in one of his lanes so they can sort of split up. They're always going to have that one soak going on. One of the few sort of advantages to having that Abathur, as well as participating in team fights with that Abathur hat. But I'm not buying it at all, Wolf. I just didn't see it last game, and they had a better composition last game with that Illidan.
I have to agree with you here, Moonglade, because we've seen Abathur now with an 0-4 win rate in this league, and we've seen the Abathur Illidan attempt and fail 3 times. We're now seeing this being played without an Illidan, and there's not even that much gank potential in the early game with a Nubarak, with an Abathur on top of him, just simply because in the early game he doesn't do enough damage to actually secure kills alone, and it's hard to actually party roam when you have an Abathur on your team because obviously he's just a symbiote.
Yeah, exactly right. Look at this. It's like they were looking for a gank, but very careful as the Rhaegar. I think up top, Kong might have been tempted by moving and Noblesse, but he was very defensive as well.
They're just obviously going to try to focus all their efforts on a Sylvanas like this because the lane can get pushed out of control if you don't.
Right, well, they're kind of trading out damage here. Looks like Snake going to try and take control of top, make sure they get all the seeds. It's going to be a hard fight there. Yeah,
especially because Noblesse has actually got that hat on him. He's doing a lot of tanking, but now that everyone rotates up, they certainly should be able to secure this top tower easily. Meanwhile, it looks like Leoric doing some trading with Johanna and they're being fairly even in the bot lane.
It's already kind of giving them some momentum, you know, taking this top lane. If they want to go straight for that Terror as well, they probably could. Or are they going to try and team fight it? That's the next question. It's kind of a risk to try and take the Terror this early on when you're level 3 because you're just not doing as much damage, you're not as tanky.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's favoring pushing for the level 4.
Well, as we say that there, it looks like DK going to try and sneak this one with a couple of heroes.
Yeah. Once you see the seeds start counting up at the bottom right of your screen, you know they're doing this. And instead of trying to challenge, Snake is just going to go for this. And I like this choice because in the early game, remember, Abathur Symbiote is at its strongest. So instead of challenging them in a fight where perhaps, you know, you can get that Nubarak in the middle of the fight, do a lot of tanking, do a lot of extra Symbiote damage, you just simply go take your own and avoid the fight. Go for late game where Abathur is weaker.
Yeah, I agree that the late game right now, so we see this kind of trade out, certainly favors Snake, as it kind of did last game. Just not going to have that sustainability once again because they are forced to use Rhaegar with an Abathur.
I mean, let's talk about, actually, while we go through this mid-game, let's talk about kind of what's going to happen in the late game. Initiate is going to be Judgment onto Jaina, almost 100%. If that happens, it might force an Ancestral onto Jaina, and if that occurs, then you don't have healing, you don't have the burst healing for, of course, Leoric and Anub'arak, so their tanking is going to be weaker. Whereas you've got Johanna who can also disrupt the entire fight from a distance, you know, and this team fight in the late game is obviously, if we go to level 20, if we start getting those Storm Talents out, going to be a much stronger composition for Snake because DK's only initiate is to simply jump in with a Anub'arak where he will have very little support.
Yeah, they don't have much dive at all, which is the big problem.
In fact, I'd like to see Jaina get range on her Blizzard because that is definitely going to be something that could allow them to do a little bit more damage from afar at least.
Yeah, we'll see what she commits to coming up here. Level 7 about to pop. See Giants straight out.
Okay, I'm seeing some patience here. You're seeing Johanna go full Condemn build.
Full Condemn.
Including Knight takes Pawn as her first talent.
That's some pretty interesting sort of choices there. All Condemn like that. You don't normally see that kind of build going on. Maybe some confidence on the side of Snake simply because of that, showing that.
We also see, you know, Sylvanas is taking Envenom, which isn't always done in Korea, but still probably the more popular pick. Just looking at everything else here, Tyrael getting Amplify healing, which means if Uther touches him with his heals, he's going to be so fast at getting that back. Cleanse for Rhaegar, whereas Uther is actually going to take Clairvoyance for extra vision, which is very rarely used in competitive play, but it's my favorite talent at this tier because you can get so much vision, and obviously we've seen Snake in the past loves to steal mercenary camps.
That's right.
So if you just Clairvoyance, you find out their positioning, you can come in oftentimes and steal that.
I kind of think that Snake looks at this lineup from DK and is like, you just don't have much DPS at all. You have like sustainability, you got a long sort of fight with these tanky heroes and Abathur to help you out, but you're just not doing that much damage. So we can kind of forego some of the tanky sort of attributes we'd use on Johanna and maybe even Uther as well, and just kind of have this more pushing power with the extra Condemn ability talents.
Yeah, like the things you might want to cleanse are, of course, the slows on the Chill for Jaina, the slow for Leoric, and then, of course, some of the stuns that Anub'arak could put out, but it's just so hard to actually get those off versus this composition that has so much more range potential with Vala and Sylvanas, and then, of course, the Engage, the Initiate on Judgment.
Did see the Observer actually point out the fact that there's 3 Condemn talents already chosen. help out the cooldown, help out the movement speed, and of course Knight takes on the extra damage.
And that's such a great talent to take on this map where you're trying to clear these seed caps. So they're going to actually really rush out these seeds and grab the Terror. It's already growing, but they're not going to be able to deny DK from doing the same.
That's right, and one thing to note as well, DK slightly ahead in experience, getting that heroic talents out first. Nothing out of the ordinary once again. It's all expected from these heroes. Water Elemental again from Jaina as well, so not going for that Ring of Frost, which we've been seeing so much from other teams lately.
So part of what this is all about here as we trade these seeds is how much of a seed rollover you get, how much bank of seeds you build up going to the next night. And it looks like it's going to be about dead even between these two teams. And we're going to see the two tanks take these Terrors. Anub'arak and I believe it's Tyrael on this one coming up for Snake on Oreo Man. So just going to actually see them engage on top of each other. This is kind of the Korean way. They don't usually avoid each other. They do kind of fight each other in the middle of the map. Using them as kind of a team fighting here rather than a pusher, a lane pusher.
Yeah, the later it gets to, the more damage he's going to be doing to other heroes, so it gets pretty huge. It does make sense, it avoids you losing towers as well if you kind of try and trade out the Terrors.
Look at that Clairvoyance used behind that wall so you can actually spot where he wants to put down his polymorphs.
Looks like Leoric getting pretty low. SC got to move back for now, and it looks like Snake getting the kind of the advantage here with his Terrors, pushing forwards again and again.
Yeah. And you can just see that, they're trying to push really far forward, but it is going to cost them their Terror first. But Noblesse not able to find anything extra here either, and it's just going to be kind of an even trade.
And so low on time as well. He might be able to get one more Entangle off on the buildings, but beyond that, he's not going to find too much more damage here. It looks like they're not even going to get a tower for this.
Yep. Meanwhile, Tyrael is actually up at the top lane pushing Abathur out. Does not want him to continue to be free to do that damage. SC taking an unnecessary amount of damage. I know Leoric is tanky, does have a high regenerate, but...
Oh, wow. They got one more ability off on that Terror before it went down, claiming both of those towers as well.
I guess it ends up being worth it in the end.
There's a slight experience advantage there.
Part of that comes from Abathur in the top lane, body soaking a little bit, dropping out those locusts.
Now the question is going to be, is DK going to play it like last game, try and avoid team fighting for as long as possible and try and take it later on? But I'm kind of worried that Snake's just going to welcome that as they did last game and just kind of try and take the advantage.
Yeah, they are, because, if you avoid team fighting, then you allow Sylvanas to split push like this.
Oh, hold on there. Yeah, Snake got caught out in a big way. Looks like Uther might be the first to go down. I don't think he's getting out of here alive.
Yep, he's going to go down for sure. Barely trying to escape. It's not going to happen. And there's no follow-up, but they're just going to rotate up here and try to grab a kill on Sniper's clone. And actually losing Tyrael as well.
Yeah, they actually
lost. Not sure what happened up there.
Yeah, they got caught out, but they're going to give up a fort for it.
He died to the clone. He died to Noblesse's clone.
Yeah, it's really caught out of position there. DK had a great rotation. And they got this very important team fight. They can get a lot of momentum. They're going to get all the mercs on the side of Snake and maybe even that top fort.
Yeah, and with this extra pushing with Abathur, this is starting to add up. They steal the mercs, as you said, and they're actually going to do a counter push here at the top to make up for the turrets they lost as well. And there's not very much split potential for Snake. They can't really counter it. And during all this, Abathur on Sniper, I said Noblesse earlier, I meant to say Sniper, is down here pushing. And he's actually upgrading the Locust. He's doing the Locust build, it looks like, to a certain extent, getting that extra ranged Siege Locust upgrade already. And this makes Abathur in the late game a lot stronger, not for team fights, but for other sorts of engagements.
Kino going in first, but he's going to survive it. We're going to be another big trade out here. Can they do it again?
Oh, Judgment going down. Noblesse, though, escapes it with a great burrow charge, but he's not. Oh, he does survive with the Ancestral. And this is a bad situation for Snake now. They have to back off. Look at that. The Water Elemental doing so much and slowing down Kong. Down goes Tyrael. And I think they're actually just going to have to let this fight go.
I think so. That was such an important dodge there with that burrow charge. Oh, Tist going to be the next to go down. And now they're all caught behind a fort. We might just see a team wipe here.
Starts to look like it might happen that way. Although SC does find himself a little bit caught. Jaehyun trying to save him here, but he's got nowhere to run. It looks like he might just try to tank as much as possible and eventually go down because he could just simply res, but he does escape. And a 3-for-0 trade in favor of DK, taking now nearly a 2-level lead. They're about to get The level 16 talents, which is going to give them the extra Jaina damage, that extra vulnerability. And look at bot lane. About to lose another fort to Abathur. Body soaking and Locust pushing hard in their face because he has so much vision about what's going on the map.
Just another really favorable fight. Up 2 levels at this point as well, mind you. It's going to really open the map for them to get the Terror fairly easily. A lot of seeds already banked up here, but it looks like Snake's going to have enough space to get their own.
Well, I stand by what I said in the early game about the late game compositions. It's still going to be a better late game comp for Snake, but I have to survive and I have to get there. And one of the threats for them is always going to be these backdoors with Abathur's Locust. And he's already killed now the bot fort with this. He can actually roam around and do something else.
Here's the next problem as well. Noblesse on this Terror is going to start work on the first keep. Granted, that top fort's still alive, but it looks like Abathur's moved up there to start work on that.
Yeah, Noblesse just dropping down that Entangling Roots. There goes this little polymorph there, just trying to any of those heroes, but good dodges here by Snake. And Oreo Man does have more time to work with on the Terror. He's actually going to go ahead and chase SC here and will actually attempt a polymorph, but Faithblock gets away.
They still have to be so careful with this fight. They're still down 2 levels, one of them being very important. They're level 16 talents.
Look at the top lane. And again, another Locust Nest gets planted. And while all of this is happening on screen, just always keep an eye on the minimap and see how much damage that Sniper is actually able to put off. Going to kill the top fort, and then these waves continue to push towards those keeps.
Still trading out in the middle as well. Looks like they might actually just move back from here. The Terror's getting a wrap around on the bottom there. Maybe looking to throw down one more entanglement on these buildings. DBS them down just a little bit.
You know, with Leoric actually on the Terror, it's really hard for them to actually initiate an engagement. Otherwise, they'd definitely be jumping on Jaina, but because he's simply in the Terror, he cannot actually drop down a Judgment. He could cancel the Terror and try to go for it, but Crazy Moving would be very well aware of what was going to happen if he does go for that. And so they're just going to continue to slowly push, but every time that, every second that DK can buy, Abathur continues to push the top lane.
That's right, and also Oreo Man running out of time on this Terror. He might have enough time for one more to try and push down a couple of Terrors and towers and try and equal up this experience.
Yep, drops a polymorph. Doesn't get the Entangling Roots off, though. Needs to drop it. If he's going to get it, there it is. Just going to push that lane a little bit harder, and they're actually going to be able to get these towers and perhaps even the walls here.
All right, well, it helped out a little bit, but soon it's going to be level 19 versus 16, so it's going to be even worse by the end of all this.
Look at the top lane. Again, continue to be pushed by Abathur. A Judgment here on Noblesse. And Tist comes in, but there's an Ancestral, but can they body block him here? Tist is vulnerable, and they will actually pick up this kill. Abathur, meanwhile, was pushing the top lane. Leoric coming in. The March of the Black King. Doing a lot of damage, and the 2-for-1 trade here actually going to be Kinu going down as well, it looks like.
Yeah, I think he's guaranteed to go down at this point. Kinu, he's buying a lot of time there. But Jaehyun should be able to catch him eventually. Yeah. There we go.
And now, with Abathur, could continue to push. Let's see where he wants to go.
Just get this keep down. You know, they have all the time in the world. Keep, then Mercs, I think, would be the choice of attack here.
I think they're actually going to go for more. I think they're going to try to get all 3 keeps. They're going to get the mid keep. Abathur continues to push the top keep. They could get the Mercs here. It looks like that is what they're going to do to help support Sniper. They're going to go with your decision. Oh, they changed their mind, though, and they are going to go for all 3 keeps. Abathur pushes top.
See how many Locusts there were? Just ridiculous amount of push power there from Abathur. And they're going to try, but they're going to be careful. People are coming back into this. A few more seconds, and the whole team will be up. Can't afford to give it away now. They do have that 3-level lead, though, and those Storm Talents.
Trying to dodge this Condemn here. I don't think that he's actually going to be able to escape, but he will secure the rest of the team and escape. And again, I cannot stress this enough. Because of how Abathur is building and because of how much damage he's been able to do, whenever these fights happen where, say, a Leoric dies, who can come up very quickly because of his trait, it's okay because Abathur can push. He can find another avenue of attack. He can find another angle.
And another thing, though, is like these Ancestrals have been perfect so far. They've been game-winning Ancestrals because they haven't lost a fight. They've kind of rejuvenated the Anub'arak back to full HP every single time he's been targeted down. And beyond that, he has Hardened Shield as well as Locust Swarm to keep him alive and reduce that damage and give him some more health steal. Yeah. He is so hard to kill, but they keep focusing him down.
And that's just another problem. That's their only initiate. That's DK's only initiate, and he's been kept alive, and he's doing exactly what he's on. His peel potential, because they target him, is like off the charts of how much damage he's absorbed. In fact, I'll look at the chart, in fact, and show you guys how off the chart it is after the game.
It's ridiculous.
How much damage he's actually absorbed is insane. Now look, Abathur has pushed the bot lane. He's not going too far. He's not taking too many risks because he knows that Snake is starting to identify that he's doing this. But look at how the lanes are constantly pushed. And now a very fast Terror coming up here.
Yeah, not to mention one in the pocket as well. They're sitting on 111 seeds, so they're going to have a second one in due time.
I cannot stress enough that I really, really like that Oreo is actually outside the Terror this time. He has the ability to Judgment on top of Jaina, and I think that's how they win this fight. If they can actually kill Jaina, they can actually start to swing things very, very quickly in a fight because their DPS goes down.
Yeah, in a big way. It's definitely one of the biggest problems here is Jaina staying alive. They cannot afford to focus down on Uberak again. Thankfully for them, he is in the Terra.
Now the Knights are pushing top, which does keep Abathur at bay, so don't worry too much about the split pushing for this moment in time. He's mostly on the defense. And, you know, I have to say the trade is definitely ending up being much better for Snake at this point, but can they keep this keep alive? That's the question.
Getting solo here. Can they keep it alive is a question. They're still down Storm Talon, so they're not going to have a very fair fight at all.
And that was basically just Sniper's clone that almost killed Mong there. Uh-oh, now taking 2 turret shots apiece. Noblesse going to have to back off. Tist, once that fades away, we'll be able to drop a Condemn here. Very careful SC needs to be at this moment in time. Now backing off.
Still pretty confident there. You know, he's not afraid to just commit to it. That Wraith Walk, you can just ignore the stuns as well. You did see that wasted Uther stun.
All heroics online except Abathur's Ultimate Evolution, which will be up in 10 seconds. But we do have level 20, which means Johanna basically gets a second life. We have Blink for both Bala and Sylvanas, and Uther will be able to have his second life, as well as the Hardened Shield comes up for Tyrael, who will use that instantly after he Judgments into the fight.
Certainly so. Let's see if they can put it to good use here. Going to push forward here. It's such a low Terror though.
No polymorphs this time. Down goes Tist's Terror. They're actually just going to continue to push this location.
Might be their best chance here. They are equal terms in terms of talent.
Yeah, a lot of the time when you see a level 22 versus level 20 team, it's the level 22 team that's forcing things. It's just the fact that they have a much better late game team fight composition, so Snake, even 2 levels down, is trying to force the fights.
Oreo goes in deep here. Going to trigger out that Blizzard. Not taking too much damage there. Tis going to be the target.
The peel here from SC is incredible. And look at that. Just bouncing around, untargetable. Coming in again, actually trying to drain Oreo down at this point and try to get a kill. And the Frost Elemental is chasing. Mong is very low. He might actually have to blink here. Does have to blink out of that polymorph. And this is that second Terror you were talking about, just doing so much work. Look how much auto damage it does.
One more right click should do the trick once Divine Shield's gone. Here we go, a big trade out. Uther already going down as well.
Oh, and a perfect Ancestral on Crazy moving. Trying to escape here. Oreo will go down first.
Oh, Mong's getting slapped here.
Down goes Tist. This is actually going to be a wipe, it looks like. SC now on the chase. Kinu vulnerable, and look at how much auto attack damage the Terror does at 1930 into this game.
That's what happens. The later it gets, the more stronger these objective sort of bosses get. And it's going to start working the core, and this should even up the series 1-1.
It really will, and during all of this, Abathur was pushing top. He killed the top keep, so even if that fight didn't go favorably, they made this work. Now, if you make Abathur work as a split-pushing hero, I think it's a much better way to do this. And with this composition, surprisingly, DK will even up the score. Split push, Locust Nest,